Welcome back to Single Serve, the world's best car cast. This is going to be episode 3. And continuing on this series, mostly being self-help and whatnot, today we're going to talk about balance. Now, the definition of balance, is essentially when things are distributed evenly, or my favorite use, or my favorite word that defines it is proportional, And the reason why I prefer that is because when you think of evenly distributed, right? When you think of evenly distributed, you start to think of especially when it comes to balance, you think about allocating your time equally. Obviously I use the word in the definition, but you get the point. When you're allocating your time to the same degree in everything, that would be considered balance, So work-life balance. We all hear that term. We know we've heard it before. People talk about it all the time. That's everybody's favorite saying is you need work-life balance. But work-life balance is very different for everybody, and it should be. Work-life balance is not as simple as I worked for 8 hours, so now I get to do nothing for 8 hours. Your work-life balance has to also align in proportions with your personal goals. So let's first break it down and unpack it a little bit more, and let's talk about the buckets of life, right? So we're gonna call them buckets. So you're gonna have your career bucket, your personal development bucket, your fun bucket, and then there's probably other ones that I'm missing, but you get the point. So in the career development bucket, that's gonna be essentially your job. It's how much time throughout the day are you pouring into your job. Now, the personal development bucket is the things that you should be doing to improve yourself as a person if you care. I say that because some people are okay with changing the proportion to where they spend a larger amount of time focusing on their work, and then they spend a lesser amount of time focusing on the personal development aspect, to where they don't necessarily care to read and go to the gym and things like that because they work and they want to just go home and relax on their free time. That's perfectly fine. And then you have your fun bucket, where that's your free time to do as you please, the things that aren't necessarily correlated to the other one. For example, I wouldn't consider the gym as the fun bucket. For me, it's fun, but generalizing it, that would be considered a personal development bucket. Because that's something that you do to self-improve and increase your health, and that's something that should be essential, but it's in the personal development bucket because, again, proportionally, some people don't value exercise. What that looks like for them is also different. Maybe it's a morning walk for 30 minutes, whatever. Maybe your job is super active, So let's think about the buckets in that way, Or let's think about the proportions in that way. Most of the time, the career bucket is going to end up being the biggest one for most people. And logically speaking, that makes sense because you are essentially going to spend about a third of your life either working or going to school. You spend a third of your life sleeping. So that makes sense that your career development, and plus if you're working for that many hours a day and in your life, you want to try your best to be your best at what you do. Now, the personal development bucket, this is where I really want to sit, because this is the one that a lot of people overlook. The personal development aspect of life trickles down into every other aspect of your life. And I don't want to just say personal development as just fitness, because a lot of people that, you see a lot of fitness industry content, that's pretty much everybody nowadays is a fitness influencer, and they all say the same things life's better when you're fit, and yes, that is true. Your quality of life increases when you exercise because you just feel better, you're usually in a better mood. But that personal development affects so many other aspects of your life, for example, dating, or for example, friendships, relationships in general. We'll generalize that. And that balance, and where balance comes is understanding that it's not always going to look the same for everybody, and it's not as simple as just I work a lot, I want to have fun a lot. The balance needs to weigh in proportion to what you want to do in life. So for me, for example, I want to be extremely fit, and I just want to look the part, I want to be the part, I want to perform. So I have to put more time and effort into that. I also like the fact that as I've progressed and gotten older, I have improved my ability to learn and understand concepts much more quickly, okay? We're not speaking like languages. Could I probably learn like Spanish or some shit? Probably. Is that something that I necessarily care for? Yes, but not as much as I care about other things. So that is gonna kind of stay where it's at. But like reading and taking the time to journal and really work through who I am as a person in the personal development aspect has helped me grow in my career and has helped me become a better person to my people. Now, proportionally, my work-life balance, where I struggle, is I tend to struggle in the fun bucket, which is interesting because most people are the opposite. Most people have too much fun and not enough personal development, and that's how you end up kind of getting stuck in a space where you stay the same person forever. And that's staying the same person forever is not necessarily a bad thing. It is if you're not the same person but more mature or have experienced growth. Like personality wise, like I see people and they're like, bro, you're literally the same guy you've always been, but I'm different. And if that's not something that you can grasp and understand, that should be kind of like a light that goes off in your head and says, okay, I need to explore that a little bit. Because being exactly the same person at the core is great, but being exactly the same person at the surface is not great. You need to kind of put the time into working on yourself, but again, what does that balance look like for you? For me, when it came to growing as an individual and really pushing myself to get to the next level, for me, balance was work, gym, morning routine, going to bed early, cooking my meals, like staying home, and like going out rarely. You have to shrink and expand the buckets as you need to go through life. What people tend to fail to see is that your buckets should not be the same size forever. And people wonder why they don't have time to do certain things or why there are certain developments are being stunted and things like that. It's because they don't understand that at different times you require different things. And I'm sitting here saying this to you, and whoever watches this will probably be like, oh yeah, no shit, that makes perfect sense. You're preaching to the choir, buddy. But 80% of people don't live that way. You have to understand that sometimes balance for you should look like having zero fun. Sometimes balance for you is majority personal development, less career, less fun. Sometimes balance for you is more fun, less personal development, less career. Like, it just depends on the state that you're in and where you want to be next. Like, if you're like, hey, I want to hit that next level in my career, but you feel like you hit a plateau, you should probably step back and evaluate which bucket you really need to put your time into. Like for me, when it came to like making money and kind of like growing as an individual, I had to adjust how I spent and how I enjoyed my life, because I realized that rest and recovery is very similar when it comes to like the gym and business. All those things are essentially like the same. All those things should be the same. Like, you have to relax your body to be able to grow muscle. You have to relax your mind to be able to work harder. You have to be able to put those things in front and prioritize them as you need them. And balance is more so about flexibility. Like a perfect example would be like Bruce Lee, be water. You have to be able to kind of flow with whatever the world kind of throws at you so that you can continuously progress and not allow yourself to get overwhelmed just because you're focused on one bucket at a time. I hope that makes sense. But now the question is, and if you've made it this far, I'd like you to drop it in the comment section below. What does balance look like to you? And now, for where you want to be next, what should balance look like for you. Because work-life balance, the traditional way, is a scam. It's something that is made to hold you back so that you don't grow. So I want you to think about that and evaluate that, because what does that look like for you, and how can that help you grow so that you can get to where you want to be next and reach that next level in your life. I hope this helps. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions about anything I just said, please let me know in the comment section below. If you like what you're listening to, please subscribe, and we will have episode 4 of the CarCast, the single serve CarCast, coming very soon. I'll see you.